This is the StealthCast.
Let's do this.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 5th episode of the StealthCast. I'm your host, Nikki. It is November 17th. Happy Monday to you all. Your Monday's going terribly. Hopefully I can make it a bit easier on you with the soothing sound of my voice. Thanks for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. We got a lot to talk about today, including Assassin's Creed Unity, which I'll start off with, and Ubisoft, what's been going on with that. I'm sure you've heard about that throughout the week in gaming news. We're going to talk about Taylor pulling off of Spotify. But first off, I really wish that I could get this show out a little more than I do. But, you know, school's being a big problem and streaming a bunch. With school, at least, yeah, I'm complaining all the time about how boring GEs are and how unnecessary they are and big broad field of things. If I'm not going to be a chemist, why do I need to know about chemistry going into the radio field? Whatever. Unless I'm going to be on Chemistry Talk Radio with Nikki. That sounds boring as hell. I wouldn't even listen to that. And, oh, man. GEs are pretty stupid. I think I've established that in past shows. But I at least wish I had teachers that were mildly entertaining. I have one teacher who's a hilarious dude. He was talking about the other day the Tweet of God, the Twitter account, and how much of a funny parody of, well, God he thinks it is. And I like him because he's very familiar with pop culture, sports, and he's teaching Western history from, I don't know, 5,000? I don't pay attention enough in class. From 5,000 BC to, let's see, where are we ending? 1500 AD, I believe is where he's ending. But he's a very entertaining teacher. And in contrast, I have another teacher who basically just reads off of PowerPoint slides. Like, that's it. What is even the point of going to this class if when I'm doing the homework, which we rarely get assigned, I could just go online and look at the slides? I don't understand why I even show up to that class. And it's not a class I can skip because it's exactly in the middle of my day. So, I don't know. I feel like people in the US pay anywhere from $500 a semester, trimester, to a few $1,000s to go to school. I know we're being taught by professors, they got PhDs and they're super smart in their field, whatever. Can we at least get them to crack a joke every now and then, or have some presentation skills? I mean, public speaking 101, don't read off your PowerPoint slide. There needs to be bullet points on there at the most, or pictures for you to talk off of. Not straight up, the sun is made out of 70% hydrogen. The sun is very hot. That's literally one of my classes. It's such a terrible waste of time. I don't know. I don't know why I even took it. Oh, yeah, because I'm required to. Anyway, let's go on. Assassin's Creed Unity launched, I believe that was last Tuesday, November 11th, alongside Rogue. After being delayed, Assassin's Creed Unity was supposed to launch before Rogue. They delayed it a bit, so they both launched on the same day. And it seems that, let me start off by saying this. You should never want a game or game company to fail. Always you should say, hey, PlayStation, you know, I'm an Xbox user. Not me personally, this is an example. PlayStation, I'm an Xbox user, but I appreciate that you're in the market because you drive innovation for Microsoft. You know, there's competition, so each one's going to try to outcompete the other, whether it be in pricing or quality or whatever, exclusives. It's good that there's competition in the market. Microsoft, Sony. As far as games go, you should always want a game to be the best it can, and there's obviously going to be flaws. Games are made by humans. Humans aren't perfect. And you should say, hey, I hope this game is awesome, and here's what's wrong with it. Let's let the devs know politely on Twitter or forums or on Reddit or wherever they're taking feedback from. Bungie is taking feedback from everywhere, for example. Let's let them know what we think is wrong with their game, and let's see if they take that advice, they don't have to, and improve their next game. You should always want a game developer or a game to be successful because it drives further innovation for other games, other consoles, whatever. You shouldn't just say, oh, the PlayStation 4, piece of crap. Well, appreciate the fact that it's there because the Xbox One took away its DRM policies because shots fired by PS4. I remember that commercial where they were like, so this is how you share games on PS4. Step 1, find a friend. Step 2, give them your game. Step 3, say thank you, or something like that. That was shots fired right there, Sony. I really like that commercial. But you should appreciate games in the market, consoles on the market, and you should always want them to get better so gaming as a whole becomes a more immersive, cinematic, as Ubisoft likes to call it, experience. Speaking of cinematic, Ubisoft lately has just been a PR mess. They've just been... I don't know if they're aware of how stupid what they're saying sounds, or if they just think the consumer, us, we are stupid. I'm pretty stupid, but come on. 30 FPS is more cinematic? Are you fucking kidding me? It does not take a scientist, a rocket scientist, a computer scientist to tell you 60 FPS looks better than 30 FPS. Hell, if you wanted to use the word cinematic, call it 24 FPS. 24 FPS is pretty cinematic. That's what they render movies out in. 48 FPS is pretty cinematic. I believe The Hobbit was in 48 FPS. But 30 FPS, when they promised 1080 60, they went to 900p 30. Come on, you guys. That's exactly half-assing it. I'm getting half as many frames as I expected. And I used to be on the side where I was like 60 FPS over 30. I mean, yeah, it's a lot more frames, but doesn't really matter that much. And then I played The Last of Us Remastered, and it was just like a blatant brick to the face. Oh my god, this is so much smoother and better. Last of Us on PS3, 30 FPS. We go over to the PS4, 60 FPS. Looks beautiful, runs super smooth. It's a big jump. And I used to be on the side of 30, 60, 60 is better, but doesn't really matter that much. And I do understand Unity is a wide open game, lots of NPCs. They probably had to dial something back a little bit, whatever. But here's the thing. I don't really like to comment on game issues unless I've personally experienced them, but there's such an overwhelmingly large amount of evidence and screenshots on the internet and people complaining about the bugs, the frame rate issues on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. I think it's pretty safe to conclude that this problem is widespread enough for it to be unacceptable. Anyway, the following article is from games.yahoo.com. I'll link it down in the description with the articles that I talk about in today's episode if you'd like to read them for yourself. But an Ubisoft spokesman said to the BBC, and I quote, "We are working to adapt our services and communications with consumers accordingly, both by changing the way we work with reviewers." I'm going to get to this in a second, and if you're a gamer, whether you love or hate Assassin's Creed, this should outrage you about reviewers in a moment. But anyway, back to the quote. "Both by changing the way we work with reviewers and by offering consumers open betas or other early access to some games, also that they have the information they need and want." Now, this whole thing was just like patching up, words, no actions, but they said they're going to offer open betas, kind of like they did with Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, or other early access to some games. So we can hold them to that. The rest of the quote's just mumbo jumbo. "Oh, I'm sorry, we messed up. Apologies, apologies." And let's get over to the reviewer section of this game, because this is the part that really scares me. Again, I always want companies to be successful unless they're this blatantly evil. Ubisoft didn't lift the embargoes on reviews for Assassin's Creed Unity until 12 hours after its launch, and I can kind of chalk this one up to the fault of the consumer for pre-ordering the game, and if they launched along with the game, the reviews, and the game hand in hand, probably wouldn't have changed some people's decisions because they would have been in line at GameStop or wherever to pick it up. But they did block reviews for 12 hours until after the game was launched. Think about it. What's the motivation for that? Keeping consumers in the dark about what? And also, reviewers themselves were in the dark about microtransactions. Now, when reviewers were playing the game, microtransactions were there, but they didn't show the pricing. So some of them might have been misled and said, "Oh, they're not putting this in the game. It's being taken out. There's no pricing here." Whatever. Turns out that there is a $99 package in Assassin's Creed Unity for in-game currency. Now, here's where I usually stand on microtransactions. If you're gun wants, you want a red gun, you want a, silly tiger camo or to glow green or whatever, feel free. Pay $99, purely cosmetic. I do not care. This, I don't know if offends is the correct word, but this doesn't rub me well. The $99 of in-game currency, come on. If you're that filthy rich, I mean, it's between you and the company. If you want to pay 99 bucks for that many coins of in-game currency, then by all means. But the fact that this offer even exists kind of, it scares me a little bit, to say the least. Also, the companion app, don't even get me started on that. To open chests instead of, well, basically, back in the day when I played Assassin's Creed, you'd freaking kick the chest open and get the loot out of it. Now you have to link it to the companion app and lockpick it from there on your smartphone. What is that? I don't understand. It should be a convenience, these apps. For example, in Destiny, you can plan out your purchases or bounties or whatever on the companion app. Or Call of Duty has the Clan Wars run in it, or whatever. Now it's being intrusive where in Assassin's Creed Black Flag, I guess you can manage your fleet from the companion app. Now you have to use it to open boxes that I could previously just kick open. This is kind of, it's intrusive now, and it's not cool. But the microtransaction thing really bugs me as well, and the fact that reviewers and consumers were in the dark about it until after the game was launched, that's just, again, bad PR. The pricings were hidden, leading reviewers to think, oh, this isn't going to be in the game. But apparently it was. Why wouldn't you want reviewers to see the pricing of your microtransactions beforehand? So they wouldn't talk about it? I don't know. I'll lead you to draw your own conclusion there. Another thing that bugs me are all the rewards they said Assassin's Creed Unity got. If you watch any of the trailers, this game was best at E3, best action game, it's fucking awesome. Rewards all over the place on their trailers. If we look at Metacritic, 76 by critics, by 21 critics is their score. 4.2 user score, and because I like statistics, let's go and get a bigger sample. What else do I have here? IGN, 7.8. GameSpot, 7. These are not the scores that they were flaunting from, oh, we got the best game at E3. Yeah, thanks, guys. They're hyping themselves up. They did the same thing with Watch Dogs. Hey, yeah, look at these beautiful graphics that aren't even available on the PC version that eventually someone is going to find were disabled for PC. We're going to make this game look beautiful at E3, and then we're not going to give it to you. We're going to disable those shaders and lighting, whatever. I'm not a graphics tech person, but someone did find the E3 graphics disabled on the PC version of Watch Dogs. And why are you complaining about this, Nikki? Well, I'm not the only one complaining about it. It looks like the stockholders of Ubisoft are complaining about it as well, because this is from Kotaku. Assassin's Creed Unity causes Ubisoft stock to plummet 9%. That's kind of a big deal. 9% of a stock plummet. Will they recover from it? I don't know. And like I said earlier, I hope that they do. But why are you complaining about this, Nikki? You're not picking up Unity. You know it's a bad game. Okay, we get it. Don't buy it. That's what I'm going to do. Don't buy it. Gamers, if you want change, stop pre-ordering. Stop buying games from companies that you know have this kind of reputation. They've done this with Watch Dogs. Which of the Assassin's Creed multiplayers have had a working party system? Any of them? There's 4 iterations, Brotherhood, Revelations 3, and 4. Which one had an operational party system? I've played all of those extensively, and the answer is none of them. None of them work the way I expect. And if they work the way you expect, you must have low expectations of how party systems work. Because to me, having me and my 3 friends land in the same lobby, there you go, that's what I want. Assassin's Creed multiplayer never delivered on that. This one's really based on co-op, and apparently there's even problems with connecting with friends. So once again, Nikki, you're complaining about so much, don't buy the game, blah, blah, blah. Yes, fellow gamers, don't stand for this. If you're enjoying the game, if it lived up to your expectations, then by all means, sit down and enjoy it. But if you're like me and you expect more of a AAA title, then vote with your wallets and don't purchase any more Ubisoft games. I know they're different divisions, but hey, same people are all at the top, right? Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, coming out in 2015. Makes me a little skeptical of that game as well. I mean, they have history of doing this. This isn't just Unity. Watch Dogs. In fact, Far Cry 4 is coming out on Tuesday. And I'm looking at that. It's got Ubisoft on the cover. I'm not sure if I want to pick that up. So, moving forward, don't pre-order their games. If it's good, purchase it later. I really hope they thrive as a company. I really love the Assassin's Creed series. They got some great ideas. It's just the execution is piss poor. And I understand they delayed Unity. They knew it wasn't finished. It is obviously not finished. And it was pushed to be launched in November because that's where the sales are. You ever wonder why COD, Assassin's Creed, Uncharted launched at this time, Battlefield launched at this time, Battlefield 3, Uncharted 3. Games launched at this time in November because holiday season right around the corner. People are spending lots of money on Christmas and all those other holidays. Be sure that you're wary of the games in the future. They launched in November because they needed to meet the deadline so that they can make sales in December, but the game was launched unfinished. Be careful of unfinished games. Look, I understand gaming's expensive, and we have to be careful, and I want to see games get better in the future. So vote with your wallet. We really shouldn't be sitting here taking all these glitches and promises of 1080p, 60 FPS, it's 930. Let's block reviewers. Let's not even inform them of microtransactions so they can't inform the people ahead of time so they can make an informed decision on whether or not to buy our product. That's just a little shady. And I understand at the end of the day, Ubisoft is a business. You got to understand that as well. They're a business. Their job is to make money, not make games. That's how they get money. Their objective is to make money. That is the objective of a business. Indie developers are a little bit different. They might do it for the love of the game. You know, 3 guys chilling in their living room, super hot, lots of computers running, coding a game. They might not be in it for the money. But AAA titles, that's in for the money. That's what all that marketing's for. That's what all the trailers are for. That's what for the big booths at E3. That's what that's for. You got to be wary of all this. And their business, they will screw you if they can. Be careful as a consumer to not get screwed, basically, and vote with your wallet. Say, hey, we've been screwed too much. And again, if you're enjoying the game, please, by all means, enjoy it. But if you don't want to stand for it, then don't stand for it, and be careful in the future with your wallet. While we're on the topic of games, let me get this out there real quick. I was watching the Colbert Report. I really like that show. Unfortunately, it's winding down and it's going to be over soon. But I was watching the Colbert Report, and Anita Sarkeesian, I believe her name is, was on the show talking about Gamergate and all that fun stuff. And she brought up a point that has been brought up lots of times in the debate over how women are portrayed in video games. And I try not to be hypocritical. We're all hypocrites. I bet if you sat in front of a microphone long enough, microphone on, brain off, I could find something that was hypocritical about your beliefs and your way of thinking. So I try to analyze myself. I try to eliminate that as much as possible, the hypocrisy in myself. I try to analyze, okay, what's my standpoint on this? Does it agree with how I stand on this subject? And I came to an impasse. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. My 2 ways of thinking conflict with each other. I have 2 opinions and they conflict. How am I going to reevaluate this? I'm going to run you through my thought process right here. Anita Sarkeesian was talking on the Colbert Report about how women are portrayed in video games. Oh, they're the damsels in distress. Mario, go rescue Peach. Peach can't go help herself. There need to be more strong women in video games. They need to be less sexualized. Saints Row is a huge, huge example of how, you know, strippers all over the place, scantily clad. GTA as well. Very similar games. Ninja Gaiden and its boob physics. If you didn't know, Ninja Gaiden had, on PS3, there's 6 axis in the controllers, and you can shake the controller. And the female characters, three out of the 4 ninjas, I believe, were females, and all of them had their boobs move as you shook the controller. The guys, there was no effect right there. But yeah, I agree on her point that women are portrayed in video games as sexual objects. I'll agree on that. All right, I'll agree on that. And she says that this causes men to see women as objects and to not respect them as much, basically. Now, here's my line of thinking on violence in video games. All right, I know where I stand here. Someone shoots up a school. I'm going to make up a fake school shooting, so I got to pick on one. Someone shoots up a school. Oh my God, whoa, this man played video games. Video games must have caused this. This is not an accurate correlation. Video games is such a common pastime nowadays that you could have linked him shooting up the school to chewing bubblegum. That guy chewed bubblegum. How dare he? He's a violent person because of it. You know, the chewing and the crushing of a small circular object makes someone violent. Throw him in jail. Well, throw him in jail because he shot up a school, not because he chewed bubblegum. But anyway, moving on. Video games don't cause violence. This I'm going to assert. I have killed millions and millions of people, animals, and aliens in video games, and I have not killed a single people or alien in real life. I have killed spiders before. Those are creepy as fuck. I think I can justify that. I try not to. I try to release them, but no. Some of those bigger ones, I can't tell the difference between a poisonous and not poisonous spider. And from what I understand, there's not a lot of poisonous ones in California, but still, no risk, man. I don't know. I haven't taken a class on spiders. Anyway, video games don't make me violent. I haven't killed anyone. Let's go back to Assassin's Creed. How many walls have I scaled because of Assassin's Creed? None. I have a class, I used to have a class actually, on the 4th floor of a building. And the elevator in that building was slow as all fuck. Never in my life have I been like, you know what? It's crossed my mind, but I've never tried it. That window right there, oh, and there's a loose brick right there. I can jump from that, and then I can use my hook blade to attach onto that little hole in the wall. Yeah, no, I've never tried to do that. I've never tried to car surf. That's something you can do in GTA. I haven't seen anyone try to car surf, and then the media try to blame it on gaming. Video games don't cause violence, is the point that I'm trying to make here. Therefore, it conflicts with the, hey, women being portrayed as sexual objects in video games make men see them as sexual objects. I'm going to use me as a case study here, and I realize this isn't good science. I am one person. This isn't a good sample size. But I still hold doors open to people. I don't go around calling every other girl a bitch and driving my car on the sidewalk and purposely trying to run them over. I don't go around looking for prostitutes or whatever. And I am heavily influenced by video games. I play them probably every day. I would say a solid quarter of my life has probably been holding a controller or on a mouse and keyboard. So, you know, I feel like people are smart enough, most people are smart enough to differentiate a video game from real life. Yes, I have been playing GTA, and then, you know, I'm driving around outside and be like, man, if I drove on the line right now and just like hit that guy a little more to the side to make room, I could totally get to my destination faster. I have thought that, but I'm smart enough to differentiate reality from a video game. No, I can't scale that wall. No, I shouldn't kill that random dog on the street for its skin so I can upgrade my weapon holster and carry 3 primaries instead of 2. I'm smart enough to figure that out. So if I'm smart enough to know, hey, I can shoot this guy in Advanced Warfare and I'm gonna get 100 points. And in real life, hey, I can shoot this guy and go to jail. I can tell the difference between real life violence that will get me in trouble and video game violence that will get me 5,000 points. And here's where I found my hypocrisy in thinking, okay, video games don't cause me to be violent. But I originally agreed with Anita Sarkeesian that women are over-sexualized in video games. Yes, some of them are bit top-heavy with big hips, and that armor definitely does not give her plus 50 defense. Does give her plus 50 sexiness, but not plus 50 defense. Game says otherwise. Anyway, I agreed with her. Yes, women are over-sexualized in video games. Plenty of evidence on that. But then I realized, okay, wait, I think video games don't cause violence, but do video games cause me to see women as objects? And for me personally, no. I'm not an asshole to, no. Hold doors open, you know. I still pay for dinner. I still believe in chivalry that much to where I think it should be even, but still I'm going to assert that I pay for dinner. And then she's going to say no, and then we're going to go back and forth a little bit, and then I'll eventually give in. Okay, we'll pay for our own shares. Whatever. A single case study, not a very good sample size, don't see women as sexual objects for my conquest or that need to be rescued. Video games have not portrayed that to me. They do show it on the screen, but that's not something I think consciously. I don't even think I think it subconsciously, although, you know, who knows, I'm not a psychologist. So, she said, women are over-sexualized in video games and they need to not be. I say women are over-sexualized in video games. Yes. Let's also start over-sexualizing men in video games. I mean, I've spoken before about how I believe in gender equaliticism. So, you know, I mean, sex sells, doesn't it? That's why those Carl's Jr. ads always have that really, well, I don't know, is it the same supermodel every time? I don't watch Carl's Jr. ads very much. But sex sells. Let's over-sexualize everyone in video games. Let's have gaming be really sexy. I'm on board for that. Not a bad idea. I mean, also, I like some games that are, you know, realistic. How not every soldier in COD is like a dude with washboard abs and a chick in a bikini running around shooting each other with advanced weaponry and exoskeletons. I like that realism too. But let's attract some girls to the market with some dudes with, you know, some solid biceps and washboard abs. There'll be more girls in gaming because sex sells. Given that girls are less visually stimulated than guys, just how our brains are wired. But I don't think it'd make guys uncomfortable, you know, having some dude with some really nice pecs running around in their games. I mean, just pretend you're him, I guess. Project yourself onto him. Project him onto you. Whatever. Let's achieve equality in gaming by making everyone sexy. I'm going to campaign for this. Sexy gaming. It's brilliant. But no, my real point here was that gaming doesn't make me violent, make me want to drive on the sidewalk and, you know, run 20 people over. Gaming doesn't make me want to rob 7-Eleven. I don't execute on these fantasies. I'll execute them on my controller into my PS4, but I'm not going to execute anyone in real life. Gaming doesn't make me violent, and I'm also going to assert that gaming doesn't make me see women as something that need to be rescued, and I need like a million of them, and they're all, you know, little slaves with, you know, non-multidimensional aspects like personalities and their own wants and desires. I see women as three-dimensional human beings in real life, and I see them as 2- or 3-dimensional princesses who need to be saved in video games because that's how they're portrayed. And I think me and most other gamers are smart enough to tell the difference. But yeah, let's have more Lara Crofts of gaming. Let's have more Ellies in gaming. And Ellie is one of my favorite characters in all of gaming because there aren't that many strong women roles in games, but Ellie really fulfills that. So let's have more of those, but we can keep the sexy ladies in Ninja Gaiden with the 6-axis control. In fact, that's really the only good aspect in Ninja Gaiden. It was a really tough game. But yeah, let's have strong women. Let's have sexy women. Let's have strong guys. We already have those. Let's have some sexy guys in there too. Let's attract the female demographic to gaming a bit more. Speaking of guys and girls, I found this news article on Not the Onion the other week that I wanted to share with you guys. This is from Deseret News by Becky Blackburn. Why aren't our kids going to church dances? I reacted to this article in one way, and I'll tell you my original reaction. And then I sat down and thought about it for a little bit before going to bed, and then I realized this might not be such a bad idea. So, why aren't our kids going to school dances? Excuse me, church dances. Let me scroll down here and read you a section of the article right here. I have an idea that will solve this whole problem of why kids aren't going to church dances. Back in the times of Jane Austen. Austen? I didn't know that could be a last name. Austen. All right. A lady was given a card that allowed fellows to reserve certain dances with her during the night. Those were the good old days, when there were so many men wanting to dance with a girl that she had to make appointments. If a man asked a girl for the first 2 dances, then whoa, he was pretty into her. She could go home and put that card under her pillow, kissing his name to her heart's desire. I'm actually reading the article right here, I'm not making this up. Maybe we need dance cards now, but I think it's the boy's turn to get them. After a boy asks a girl to dance with him, she signs his card. 3 signatures means he gets access to the refreshment table. Now, I don't party very much, but here's how I thought this worked. You drink and then you dance. Apparently we're going the other way around here. Bear with me. You gotta dance with 3 girls and then you get access to the refreshment table. So my first reaction here was, whoa, wait a minute. Okay. You're holding drinks hostage until some guys go out to dance with girls. Some people aren't outgoing. This is really going to mess with them socially. What if Jimmy dances with John's girl and then there's going to be a huge predicament there? I at first thought, this isn't the best way to train your children to dance with girls. If your son is a little bit nervous of talking to them, maybe you should try other methods of coaching them to pick up chicks rather than forcing them to grab a drink. But then I read this part and I had a brilliant idea. Maybe 10 dances, get them a free trip to Taco Bell. And I was like, hold the fucking phone, man. 10 dances with 10 different girls get you a trip to Taco Bell? Fuck dancing with girls. I am willing to take every guy's card and just dance with every girl multiple times so I can go get me a grilled potato burrito from Taco Bell, because that shit is delicious. And I was thinking, okay, wait a minute. This can work to my advantage. We should start employing this at college proms, because you know, college people are really sheltered and not a lot of parties going on, no illegal drinking whatsoever. So I was thinking, okay, let's do this. Let's give guys dance cards and let's hold college proms, because they don't do that anymore in America, at least. And I would be willing to go around all the nerds of the school, all the really sheltered guys, and be like, yo, bro, okay, I will get you 10 signatures on your dance card, all right? But you're getting me the free Taco Bell afterwards. And okay, so this is going to be a business. You got to invest a little bit, all right? You can't be dancing with 10 girls and using the same 10 dance moves every time, okay? You got to make money by spending some money. Invest in some dance lessons so you're probably the best dancer on the dance floor, and then go at it. I also went and read on, and it said, parents can be great support. When the boy comes home, he better have 15 names on his dance card, or it's going to be 15 days before he sees his Xbox again. I originally thought that this was cruel, unusual. Hey man, I'm sorry, I can't play COD with you tonight. I didn't get 15 girls to sign my card. Whoa, wait a minute, bro. I got your back, all right? I'll get you 15 signatures if you get me the Taco Bell from 10 signatures, all right? You'll keep playing Xbox. I'll see you online tonight. But you better be delivering that Taco Bell to my door before we go play some Momentum on AW, alright, bro? Brilliant. Brilliant marketing idea for me. I really think that I could go far and make a lot of profit off of this. Now, here's the thing. I go on to read the article. They may even have to call a few of the girls for verification just to make sure the signatures aren't forged by a few of the buddies who proudly claim that they can write like a girl. So, just let all the girls know, like, hey, remember, you gotta spend money to get money. Pay the girls like, yo, okay, if Lil Jimmy's parents call your parents up, you did dance with John. You danced with me, all right? I'm a good dancer and all. I'll call you later. But you danced with Lil Jimmy. Is that his name, Jimmy? John? Whatever. Yes, you did dance with them, okay? Cool. Brilliant business plan. Let's put this into work. We need school dances at colleges, proms, and we need girls to sign guys' dance cards. Alright, let's talk for a moment about my favorite person in the entire universe, Miss Taylor Swift. She recently pulled all of her music off of Spotify, and Scott Borchetta, the bro who originally signed Taylor for Big Machine Records, commented, "We never wanted to embarrass a fan," he said during the November 7th interview with 6 Cents with Nikki Sixx. That's not me. I didn't get to interview him. I'm not Nikki Sixx. I'm sorry. "If this fan went and purchased the record, CD, iTunes, whatever, and their friends go, 'Why did you pay for it? It's free on Spotify,' we're being completely disrespectful to that super fan who wanted to invest." So, I personally, fully aware that I can get her music on Spotify. Well, I used to. And Pandora, whatever. I want to pay my artists, I want to give them a cut for the work that they've done. Buy band merchandise, go to concerts, all that fun stuff. So I'm not sure if his statement right there fully holds water, but Taylor is totally within her rights to take her music off of Spotify. In fact, to put this in perspective, people are saying, oh, well, put it on Spotify, because then people buy it on iTunes, people will buy it on Spotify, sales everywhere. One music play does not equal one sale, right? Putting it on Spotify might take away from some iTunes sales, right? Taking it off Spotify obviously takes away from some Spotify sales, but her marketing, her dad's an accountant, determined that, okay, wait a minute, this isn't going to make us a lot of money, because I found this infographic right here. Once again, all the articles I'm talking about link down in the description. But if you are selling a retail album CD, to make the U.S. monthly minimum wage of $1,160, you need to sell 1,161 retail album CDs. 1,161. Keep that number in your head. And compare that to the over 4 million plays you'll need on Spotify to make the minimum wage, the U.S. monthly minimum wage of $1,160. That's insane. 4 million Spotify plays. Her people obviously looked at this and said, you know what? If we took her music off Spotify, more people go to iTunes, purchase her music. Yeah, people are going to pirate it, but in the end, we're going to be making more money not having it on Spotify than we will by putting it there. And this whole controversy, oh, what the hell, Taylor, put your music back on Spotify so I don't got to pay for it. Whatever. Taylor is fully within her rights as an artist to put her music wherever she wants. Hell, she could take it off iTunes. Right, that's probably not a good business strategy, but she could take it off iTunes if she wanted. And I really like Dave Grohl's stance on this. This article was written, let's see, November 15th. Once again, linked down in the description. I take Dave Grohl's stance right here. Guy's amazing. I believe drummer for Nirvana and lead singer of the Foo Fighters. Really one of my favorite musicians of all time. He says, David Grohl's decision on Taylor to pull from Spotify is, I don't fucking care. Bro, could not have put it into better words myself. I just don't fucking care. I'll go out and buy it. People treat music, digital media, differently for some reason than they treat tangible, actual goods. So, why don't you put your music, out there for free? Spread it for the love of music. You wouldn't ask someone to give haircuts out for free for the love of hair. You wouldn't ask someone to collect your garbage for free for the love of... You ever see those signs at places where you get haircuts, speaking of which, where it says, we have the right to refuse service to anyone? Some restaurants have that as well. Taylor has the right to refuse service to Spotify, to put it wherever she wants, because she didn't like their rates, which, by the way, you gotta play 8 hours worth of music before an artist can earn $1 on at least US Spotify rates. Might be different globally. But she doesn't owe us anything. She doesn't have to write an album every 2 years. She didn't have to write this album. She's freaking rich. She's got a house in Rhode Island, LA, and New York, and London. That's 4 houses, dude. Off the top of my head. Quite a bit. She doesn't need to write music anymore. But she does it because that's the way that she likes to express herself. That's the way she shares her emotions and her life story. And we are not entitled to that. That's the problem here. That's the core problem. Are entitled consumers. Going back to the Ubisoft thing, we're not entitled to a good game. But if it's not good, then don't be a consumer. Alright? You can be a consumer, but don't be an entitled consumer. And at the end of the day, Taylor, Ubisoft, both businesses, they gotta put food on the table, provided they can put a lot of food on the table. And yes, it would be nice if all games were free to play with no microtransactions, or if all music was free and we'd share it for the love of violins and guitars and rock and roll. Streaming is nice. Spotify, streaming music, that's really cool. Netflix, hell, Twitch streaming video games. Streaming is awesome. But if someone decides not to provide content to you via streaming, you're not entitled to it. I mean, unless you paid for Netflix and then Netflix wasn't giving you service because AT&T and Comcast throttled Netflix. That's a different story, net neutrality. I don't want to get into that right now or the show will be like 5 hours long. You're not entitled to have everything streamable unless you were paying for it. If you're paying for Netflix, then you better get Netflix. But, Taylor doesn't want her stuff to be provided on Spotify. There's plenty of other places to go get it, so go get it from there. And here's the last thing. Taylor earlier this week released a brilliant music video of the second track on 1989, Blank Space. And people were saying, oh, okay, you're going to put Blank Space up for free on YouTube, but you're not going to put it on Spotify? What's wrong with you, Taylor? And I guess people don't understand how PR works. So let me break this down for you, right? This is how sales works from my extremely loose understanding of it. You put a music video out. It draws attention to your album. People maybe listen to some of the previews of your album on iTunes. People buy your album. It's not a one-to-one sale. Not everything's a one-to-one sale. Taylor's not making $1.29 off of you watching the Blank Space music video on YouTube. I'm not sure if they play ads on it, but in that case, they'd get ad revenue. It's not always a one-to-one sale. It's later on down the line, maybe generating some revenue. This is why advertising is a thing. It's a form of advertising, her putting out her music video so the album gets recognition. Let's take, for example, Coca-Cola. I think everyone and their mom knows that Coca-Cola exists. They don't need to advertise, it seems, right? Best way I heard it described was this. When you start going 65 on the freeway, do you take your foot off the pedal? No, you keep going. You keep holding that down. People who work at Coca-Cola want people to know that, hey, we exist. Next time you have an opportunity to buy your drink, which not right now, you're sitting at home at your computer watching a Coca-Cola ad, or you're sitting in your living room watching a Coca-Cola ad. You can't buy a Coke right now, but later on down the line, when you're sitting at a restaurant, they're like, Coke, Sprite, what you want? You're going to buy a Coca-Cola product. That's why Blank Space music video raises recognition for the product. Advertising about recognition. The music video was to raise recognition. You're on iTunes. You see Taylor there at the front page, or you're, wandering about and you're like, oh yeah, I remember listening to that music video. Let me purchase the album. It's not always a one-to-one sale. You know how they have car commercials? Are you really going to get up out of your chair and go buy a car right away? No. The car dealer is going to be like, all right, so we have... dude, I shouldn't have taken this example. I don't know shit about cars. We have this green car here. And you saw this green car, being sold on TV. There's that dude, dude driving it, professional driver, closed course, don't attempt this at home. Yeah, he's having a lot of fun. He's wearing sunglasses, hair slicked back. Yeah, that advertising, you remember that? There's the car right in front of you. It's one of your choices. Maybe you should consider it a little bit better because you saw that advertisement for said green car. Man, I wish I could name a car. A Prius. Do people like those? No. A Honda Civic. Is that a cool car? I don't know. I don't know anything about cars. Anyway, she puts out the music video, raise recognition for her album, not necessarily get a one-to-one sale. So the people who are complaining, oh, you put this song out for free on YouTube? What? But you're not putting it on Spotify. That's the flaw in your logic. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not always a one-to-one sale. Anyway, let's bring it home. Thank you all for tuning in to episode 5 of the StealthCast. Be sure to leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think. Taylor on Spotify, Ubisoft, how they doing as a company, and dance cards. Good idea. Leave those comments down below there. If you want to read any of my articles, they will be in the description, as well as links to my Twitter. Keep updated on what I'm doing, Facebook, subscribe here on YouTube, and don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed this show. I've been your host, Nikki. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you all some other time.
Pinecone.